All right. We've taken our first steps into the finale. A few things. Thank you for coming along on this ride. Whether it has been since I started Memories of Ice, a lot of people hopped on board during House of Chains, and then it's sort of trickled on since that time. And it's been super fun. It's been super fun. I've had all these different feelings about the series, as you can completely tell. I wear my feelings about things on my sleeve. But even when I'm ranting about something, I am like enjoying the critical sort of thing about it. But yeah, there have been times where I've just totally loved it, and that's most of the time. This is still like, I can't think of another series that I would want to reread than this one. And if I was left with one series on an island, this is the series you would take, because there would just be no end of just extra things that you could get out of it. Even though I haven't always loved everything about it, and I haven't always loved the format about how it has been given. I want all of these stories, but it's just like a shotgun blast of information sometimes, and I don't like it like that too much. I've had, we were talking on the Discord, and I was mentioning how, the fact that we're already at the end of 10 books, and either I'm an idiot, which is totally possible, but I haven't gotten a lot of foreshadowing. I mean, I have in terms of Ganos in the start of Gardens of the Moon, and then you soon realize, like, Ganos is our guy. Ganos is our center. He might not be the center of everything, but he's our anchor, so to speak. So have faith in Ganos, just as he has faith in Whiskey Jack. And that wonderful chapter, just the way it's put, just as Ganos has faith in the bridge burners are showing, they have faith in Fiddler. At least Quickben, when Ganos is asking Quickben, well, which is your toughest bridge burner? And I was hoping he would say Fiddler, because look what he's been through. And it doesn't mean the most, the one who's the most rah, and, it's the one who, when push comes to shove, who would you want? Who would you want to put your faith in? And I thought, well, Quickben is who I would want to put my faith in out of all the bridge burners. Whiskey Jack. But Fiddler, even though he doesn't necessarily love being in the center of all this, he does what he needs to do. If I had to trust my kids' safety to one of the bridge burners, I'd trust it to Quickben, but maybe it would be Fiddler. And I love that theme in this book, but I love that theme in this chapter that's been showcased. And it's very much about faith in others to do the right thing, is what I got out of that. And again, we have that in the same conversation. We have Perrin's faith in Tavor, and I believe Shadowthrone has faith in Ganos' faith in Tavor, or at least he has he has to rely on it, like he has no other choice. And at the very first scene has Cotillion and Shadowthrone talking about their this whole plan that's now really coming to a head. And it feels like it's on the edge of a knife, like the success or failure. And knives are brought up a few times. It's interesting to see Shadowthrone and Crippled God talking in the second scene, I think it is. They talk about the Crippled God's chunks. And Skinner's got a chunk. Skinner's interesting. But it seems like a lot of people don't like what he's doing. Right? I loved Skinner in, he's Iron Bars, right? He was in Night of Knives. The coolest part is when we're expecting Rulad to become this unstoppable sort of fighter. Rulad isn't he first killed by Skinner? And it's almost like just totally offhand, like, he just kills him in passing like he's nobody. And it's like this major moment. And he's been being chased, I believe. He's been chased by the Segula Second, right? Well, I still don't know who that is. Apparently, there might be hints to it, but I don't know. I don't know who that would be. But the Segula Second wants to chase this guy, and I believe Hood. Like he's escaping Hood. Like it sounds like he's this total rogue entity in all that. This rogue person who we don't get a lot of info. And I'm pretty sure, is that what's going to be the return of the Crippled God, Crimson Guard and all of that? Is that going to be the whole Skinner part? Because if that's the case, freaking Steven Erikson knows how to put his hooks in you right at the end of, even the end of the series. That would be cool. I'm on board if that's going to be what we have. We also have, speaking of faith, we have Bryce going towards this final thing, and Tehol sent some people, some forces to go help Bryce. And even though Tehol is like this comedic dude, remember how awesome he was in Midnight Tides and Reaper's Gale. Those are two more that, like him, not Bryce. Well, actually Bryce, I would trust Bryce, I guess. He's up there for ones I would have faith in doing the right thing, I think. But he's kind of but Tehol and Bug, I feel like of all the Elder Gods, Bug has, or Male has the best perspective of all of them. And maybe Karol. It seems clear, but like maybe. Anyway, this faith is interesting. And these other forces show up. And like Bug isn't even, or Bryce isn't even surprised that Tehol would do this. Love Tehol. Love Tehol and Bug. There's just too many characters that all deserve to be main characters. And I bring you guys through great valleys of salt and whatever because of my own inability to juggle everything, especially in these last two books. I've felt like I've kind of dropped the ball on a lot of the details, like holy smokes. Karsa is going to kill a god, the wolf the wolf one, right? The war one. Sorry, I read this last night, and this is the next morning. Speaking of night, want to hear my North Korea dream I had last night? So I used to be obsessed with everything North Korea. I would look at videos for the demilitarized zone. I would read books about the camps, and I would watch anything I could about what's going on in there. And I had a dream that I took my family on a tour to North Korea, like with my 2 kids, and my brother wanted to come. I went with some cousins and stuff. And beforehand, I had really grilled everyone, like, make sure you don't badmouth North Korea while we're there. Make sure you're just kind of, like, don't steal anything. Like, remember that guy that the video of the kid who took the poster off the wall and, like, got sentenced to 15 years and ended up dying? So I was on edge. So this is what happened. We were in our hotel room after flying in, and we were, so this was the morning of our big tour in my dream. And after warning everyone, I knew we were being watched. And I was eating some they looked like, I didn't know what seeds they were, but they looked like pomegranate seeds. I was eating them, and I was spitting them out, thinking I was spitting them into a bowl. Then I looked down, and I had been spitting them onto, there was a picture of the supreme lead, like Kim Jong, one of the older ones, Il, or the one that came before that, Son. And it just had a picture of him on the ground, which wouldn't make sense. But I was spitting right onto the picture. Thought, oh, crap. So I'm like, oh, yep, clean that up. Didn't realize, made it clear to whoever might be watching. That was a mistake. Then I was cutting something, and I put down my knife, put it on the table, and noticed that it was pointing right, like the edge of it was pointing right at the another picture of someone on the wall, the supreme leader. Thought, oh crap, now they probably think I want to kill the supreme leader. Anyway, so I was already a little bit on edge after doing those 2 gaffes in the morning. And then we left, and we were going to go to some special sacred whatever place. We were on this train, and I looked down and noticed that I had Christmas flannel pants on. And no underwear for some reason. That was a detail. It was like only flannel pants. And I looked around at everyone else trying to dress appropriately and nice, and I have these snowman flannel pants, and thought, they are not going to like this. And then I woke up. So anyway, that's, yeah. Those are kind of dreams I have. Another thing that's so interesting about this chapter is the Ototaro knife. Like, we have an amazing scene with Perrin watching Quickben and Callum defeat these pure Forquer Lasalle. And it's like Quickben has put Makra or something, so Callum can kind of go unseen. And I think it's either him or Quickben that says, got you. Was that Callum who did that? Or was that Quickben in the end? Anyway, such a cool scene. Such a cool scene. And I'm so glad that they are here in the end. I thought that wherever this was going, Perrin was going to be here in the last sub-book for sure. Hoping that Quickben was going to be. Wasn't sure about Callum. I thought he was maybe dead. But glad he's here. And that's where we get that awesome conversation. I'm interested in Tanakalian. Is that how you say his name? I mean, I haven't a ton. But as we are, he's on this other side with the Forquer Lasalle. But I haven't really considered the name of the Greyhelms. Like, he's a Greyhelm, right? Greyhelms is interesting. It shows some level of not really knowing what they're going to do in the end. Like maybe he is there. Like maybe he will be key in something. I mean, he's in the story. He's got to be key in something. But so I've got my eye on him. Got my eye on Tavor and Fiddler, obviously in the desert, and what a scene that was in chapter 20. But considering the Odotarl now, Callum's got an Odotarl sword, and when Tanakalian tells the Forkrul at the end of chapter 21 that what's her face, that Tavor is wielding an Odotarl sword, that is major. That is major, and it freaks them out. And considering that there's this Odotarl dragon going around, very, very interesting. And I wonder, I mean, some people want to cut that connection with sorcery and the gods, and at least by doing that, whatever happens will be the fault of humans doing the right or wrong thing, right? And that's an interesting, place to send this series, especially when you consider their history and some wild, some wild things, and our history. I mean, we've had a lot of things that have been done in the name of deities and stuff, right? So it's interesting. So interested in this chunk that Skinner's got of the crippled god. And all these people that are out to get him, in the pickled Segula. And the High Maiden. The one who killed the Forkrul, the not the housemaid. What the heck is her name? Is she a Segula? Because it was mention of masks. A lot coming to a head here. A lot coming to a head. We got to see what Tavor's going to do in the end. Got to see what Fiddler's going to do. It better have to do with a custard, but maybe it'll be something even cooler. And even though Ganos is kind of at the core of everything, it's almost in the same sense now that he is more like an orchestrator, in the same way that maybe Shadowthrone and Cotillion are more like observing from afar, rather than Ganos like having a sword. And like maybe that's not really his role as much as let's make sure that, let's watch to see that the pieces that we have moved in place are going to now do the things that we're hoping for. What's Karsa going to do? Very interesting. I mean, I do have gripes with Dust of Dreams and the Crippled God because of the length. Because they've, we could read a whole trilogy, an amazing trilogy. Like the whole First Law trilogy fits right into these two books. And it just seems like, oh man, it's so slow. So in some of those regards, like I love Steven Erikson's writing, but after 10,000 pages, it's like, come on, let's get to the thing. But very cool. Thank you for continuing on to finish this with me. I know my first bit of salt happened at the end of the Bone Hunters, when I had some expectations that didn't go as planned, especially regarding Trull, which I think the Edur people are just so fascinating. I think for sure my favorites are Midnight Tides and Reaper's Gale. You know, and Toll the Hounds, obviously. But I just wish the Edur were more central in the end here. But you can't have everything. But I thought the Edur would be more central, like Trull's son. Thought he'd be born and become something, but maybe we'll see. Maybe it'll say in an epilogue that later on Trull's son became someone awesome, or maybe he worked at McDonald's. Who knows? Not saying that awesome people can't work at McDonald's, but anyway, I will talk to you on the next one. There is certainly a lot to consider, and I didn't want to say a lot in these last two, even though they were awesome. I just didn't have much to say, and I think I knew that I would say more about Tavor and them coming into this final thing, so I didn't want to like repeat myself too much. But thank you anyway again, and I will talk to you on the next one.